Hello, beauties. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. It's Winnie here again in another video. And in today's video, we are going to be learning how to make this beautiful, gorgeous trumpet sleeve. It is easy to make and it is beginners friendly. If this is what you love to learn, keep on watching. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And without too much talking, let's get to the honey of this video. Let's go. I love you. Hey beauty, welcome to my channel. I used about 2 yards of fabric to make this sleeve because it is really big. So you need like 2 yards of fabric, or if 2 yards of fabric should be enough. So I'm folding it by the selvage into 2, and then I'm folding it again to make it folded into 4. But this time around, I'm going to be folding it into a 180-degree flare, as you can see me do. So make sure you folded it properly and make sure it is well aligned. Once that is done, you are going to take your dress, the one you want to put the sleeve on, and then you are going to measure out the armhole, the round armhole, just on one side like that, as you can see me do. You are going to measure the round armhole, and whatever you have there is what you are going to use to determine the cap of your sleeve. All right, that's, yes, your sleeve cap. So now what I got on my round armhole, I'm just taking it, marking out a point where it's going to be enough for me, and then I'm just going to rule out a straight line. So once that is done, I measured it again to confirm if it's going to be enough, and it was okay for me. My round armhole was about 8 inches, and what I have here is about 9 inches, which is okay, plus the seam allowance. So I just created a curve to form my sleeve cap, the normal sleeve cap that we usually cut out. So that's what I'm doing, and then I measured it out again, and I made sure that it was up to the 9 inches that I wanted. So now from the first line that we drew, not from the curve, from the first line that we drew, is where you're going to be measuring the length of the sleeve that you want. It is a long sleeve. You can make it short if you want, but I want it to be long. So I'm going to measure out the length of the sleeve, the long sleeve, from the first line that we drew. That is where I'm going to measure the length of the sleeve. So I'm just going to measure that all around, the length of my sleeve, which is what I'm doing right now. I don't need to add any seam allowance to this, because if you add a seam allowance, it's going to end up too bogus for you. So just measure out your exact long sleeve length, and then you're going to cut it out. If you are new to my channel, you're welcome. My name is Winifred. Please keep on watching, like my videos, share with your family and friends, and do well to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any tutorial in future. I love you and I care. Welcome to the channel of beautiful people. So now, once you've done cutting all the parts that you need to cut, you place a notch at the middle of that sleeve, just to make it easy for you when you are sewing it. So at the side, I'm just going to go in by 7 inches, although I ended up going in by, after the 7 inches, I still went in by 4 inches again, because 3 inches rather, because I didn't want it to be too wide. It was really too wide, and I didn't want that. So it was 10 inches that I took out at the long run. So once I was done doing that, I went ahead to cut out my lining. Just use the same pattern for my main fabric to cut out my lining. I'm sorry that the lighting was fluctuating. There was no light, so I was using natural light, and maybe because when I was cutting, my shadow was blocking the light. So sorry for the blur in lightning. So now I'm just aligning the lining, because you don't want it to be one should be longer than the other or bigger than the other. You want it to be perfect. So align your lining properly, and then you cut it out. So we're going to be using a stay for this to make it stiff. All right, is either you use a collar stay or a hard stay. Any one that you want is fine. If you like, you can also use a BFF if you don't want it to be too hard, but I would advise to use at least a collar stay. This was where I was explaining that I took 3 inches out again, and then I've already ironed out my stay on it. A collar stay retails for 2,000 naira per yard, so I've already ironed it on it, and I made sure that it was really smooth at the right side because I ironed it on the main fabric. Most people iron it on the lining. You can iron it on the lining if you want, but I decided to iron it on the main fabric. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and place my lining right side facing right side, and I'm going to stitch the down part. So I've done that. I stitched the down part by 1/2 inch seam allowance. So now there is one trick that I want to show you to make your work very, very neat. So after sewing your lining at the down part, you're just going to take it like this, and you're going to pull your lining forward. You see the way I did it? You're going to pull your lining forward and make sure that that fold is about 1 inch. So you are going to do that before you stitch. So you're just, after folding it like that, you're going to sew on the fold with just your 1/2 inch seam allowance. You're just going to sew it from that side all the way down, and then you do it to the other side of your sleeve also. That will make the hem of your sleeve to be very neat and clean. All right, so you're going to do that to the other side. I've gone ahead to do that, and this is how it looks. So now I'm going to turn it to the right side, but before then, you pulled your lining forward, so there's going to be some excess here, and then you are going to cut it off. So after cutting it off, you are going to turn it to the right side. So you have to turn it to the right side properly and iron it out with your iron, but there was no light here, so I could not iron it. So I'm just using my hand to iron it and make it really, really clean. So after smoothing it out properly and everything is well aligned, make sure that you take your time. You don't have to rush. Make sure that everything is well aligned at the side and at the edges. Pull out the edges properly. Make sure that the downside is aligning properly, and then once that is done, you are going to move to the next step. So because there was no light, so I was using my hand to just straighten it up, and because there is stay inside the fabric, it's going to be easy to use your hand to just mold it to whatever you want. And see that edge right here, see how clean and neat it is. So that is the effect I wanted us to create. So now I've just flipped it over right side facing right side, and then I'm going to use 1 inch seam allowance to sew it from the edge, and then I'm going to slant it all the way to the to the armhole side, So now I'm just chalking it down so that you can see how you are going to stitch it. So after that, you're going to sew it, and once that is done, you turn it to the right side, then you iron it properly again. And make sure that it is very, very clean. So after ironing it and making sure that all the edges are out at the side, make sure that everything is out and is clean, then your trumpet sleeve is ready. See the way it's looking on my hand, and don't mind me, I was just trying to be playful here. So that's your trumpet sleeve. Thank you guys for watching. Till I see you in my next tutorial, I love you and I care. Bye. Papa.